When it comes to doing a mech build in a MechWarrior game, it's not always about you. In fact, getting a mech for the first time isn't always about you either. It's also about your group. And in this case, in MW5 Clans is about your star, because your star is supporting you and you are supporting your star. What's up, everybody? I'm James. Welcome to Mechanical Mayhem, and welcome back to the Mech Lab. We're doing some clan mechenering in the Mech Lab with MW5 Clans, looking at a build for the Mad Dog chassis. This is the first heavy mech we gain access to in the game. It comes in at 60 tons. It's the lightest a heavy mech can be, and it's a great platform for support in its primary configuration, which is the first way you get it. So this is going to be yet another Reprime build. I like doing Reprime builds because you gain access to them right away to do it, right? When you first get the mech, you get it in its prime configuration, so you can make use of this build immediately if you so desire to get an extra leg up. Now you might be thinking, well, the Mad Dog has a hero mech now, so you can use those Omnipod sets too right away. And you're absolutely right. However, you are in need of having that DLC. So you have to pay for that. And, I have it. I think it's great, for what it is. But not everybody's going to have the DLC necessarily. Maybe not right away, maybe a little bit later, whatever the case is. So I wanted to have something that is usable by absolutely anybody right out the gate. Hence, the Reprime is still a thing. So let's check out the loadout. As you can see, it is purely the prime configuration. And what we have going on here is really simple and straightforward, because this technically, we could use it. This is actually technically made for one of your AI star mates. A player could easily use it, but it's meant to be utilized in the background. And the way it's set up is to keep your star mate in the back. So with that said, let's check it out. We have taken the lasers, the pulse lasers, and replaced them all with just one ER large laser in each arm. Now you could easily not have this and have it be purely a missile boat with no other equipment on it, and you can get even more missiles. But I like having a backup. It's just me, even for my star, because I don't know how much spamming the AI might do against certain mech targets in certain difficulties, and I don't know that I want to rely on an ammo crate at some point. So here we are. With that said, each arm is identical in terms of how it's set up. So we can see they each have 0.75 tons of extra armor, and they each have 1 ton of LRM ammo in them. The legs can be given stuff, but I didn't do that. I didn't bother with messing with the legs. So you have open slots if you want to. I just felt it was more important to give armor and ammo elsewhere. So with that said, the center torso has a total of 1 ton of extra armor through 2.5 ton armor pods. And then in the left and right torso, we have the same exact thing. We have 2 tons of LRM ammo, the LRM 20 of course, and 0.75 tons of extra armor, a 0.5 and a 0.25. We can't do anything in the head. And that's the setup. It's pretty straightforward. There is room to squeeze in more missiles if you don't care about lasers, or if you're going to use it, you can put in the lightest weight lasers you can if you wanted to, and be absolutely fine for a lot of extra ammo or even armor. But I think this is just the right blend to have enough ammunition to, for most missions, be able to make it to an ammo crate or a repair bay and use it on them if you want. Because you have to remember, this is to support the entirety of the star. It's not meant to be a one mech wrecking crew. So with that said, the weapon groups are pretty easy. The ER large lasers in one group, the missiles in another. And that's really it for the build. Very straightforward Reprime build that works really well for what it is. And what it is fire support. So let's take it to the sim pod and let's train a little bit in the shooting range with it. Now keep in mind, I always say this, but it's worth saying, the shooting range has targets that I believe are of the recruit level AI, meaning pretty much everything else in the game will take a bit more damage to kill than these mechs in the shooting range, with the exception of the first few missions worth of recruit level AI mechs, unless you're in higher difficulties or whatever. But in any case, this is still a great way to get a gauge of how well you are going to be able to do in terms of either heat efficiency, ammo economy, and you get a sense of damage and the speed and bursts of damage you can do. So with that said, this is a very long range build, which is exactly the idea. You see, the reason I said this is built for AI um, is because of the simple fact that AI will try and get in range to shoot with whatever they have on the mech. A good example is the Adder Prime, right? Has a flamer and 2 ERPPCs. Well, you don't want to get up close with the flamer. You want to just hang back with the ERPPCs and make use of the flamer if things get close enough and whatever else. And maybe certain specific instances you would go up and use it. Not the AI. They will charge to use it. So, with this Mad Dog build, we have extended range large lasers because of their ridiculous range. It's great pinpoint fire support, pinpoint direct fire support, and also supplements its missiles rather nicely. But it also means the AI won't try to get closer than, well, the missiles, really. So that's great. That means this mech will follow the AI logic and stay in the back because, well, I have range to things. No big deal. Where this gets a little bit of a hiccup is when you are dealing with stuff behind cover that the lasers can't hit. They may stop and fire their missiles, but they may eventually try and move to get line of sight. But that's a lot better than trying to charge up close to fire medium or small lasers. So that's why I have it set up this way. So if you paid attention, I didn't call it out, but if you paid attention, we had 1,620 missiles starting off. So we have quite a decent number of shots. The missiles are indirect fire. As you see, when we fire them, they go into the air, and then they rain down on the target. But they have a spread. Now, you can do research to give it less spread just from missile research. And Naomi has, a thing for less spread. So that's really nice. But even so, I don't have any of that research, I don't think, in this particular save file. I might a little bit. I didn't pay attention to it. And we're not on Naomi. So the missiles will hit much tighter, more or less, with those upgrades. And, of course, if you upgrade Naomi to have, less missile spread. This is who I would give that to. I would give this Mad Dog Prime and the Reprime configuration to Naomi because she is your missile boat extraordinaire, more or less. When it comes to vehicles, the nice thing about missiles is they can rain down on top of the vehicle that might otherwise be harder to hit with direct fire equipment at times. This does get a little spicy if you're going to spam your missiles on top of your lasers, but we do have direct fire lasers. So we can do, if we could hit, pretty well with missiles on the target. Now, I think the sim pod has a maximum ceiling height because these missiles will explode before they get to these flyers, by the way. I'll show you. Which is a little unfortunate, but it also highlights an important thing to keep in mind with this mech on certain missions. If you're going into a cavern, or you're going into some enclosed environment, or there's pillars, or there's an overhang, a bridge, or whatever, you have to be careful if you're using this mech, or you have to keep that in mind for when your AI is going to fire on stuff, because the missiles arc to rain down, and you could have a problem there, right? But with 1,620 missiles, we are able to get a lot of volleys off. Sure, we're at 1,100 now, but think of how many missiles we fired off in just this discussion from this range. And this is the way the mechs are meant to fire. Be very sedentary, only move to get to objectives, and if enemies get close, back up or whatever else, because again, you're going to have the whole star basically in front of this thing, screening, because it's your fire support in the back. And the lasers, if you have direct line of sight, are going to be helpful, right, for picking off things and providing weight of fire to the stuff you're shooting. But it's really about the missiles here. So with that said, I've been pretty liberal with missile usage, and we're not even at half. We're getting close to being at half missile. And when you consider how most missions kind of play, especially where you're going to want to have the Mad Dog as a part of it, you are going to have plenty of missile shots from your AI without the need to get an ammo crate. And once you do, it's plenty of missiles yet again. So that is very nice. Works out very well. And because of that, if you're doing co-op, for example, and somebody wants to hang out in the back, you could run this fairly late into the missions, honestly, as long as the rest of the stuff up front is able to keep things off the Mad Dog, right? And when enemies start flanking, the Mad Dog has the speed in those later missions to kind of get some pep in his step to reposition while the rest of the star comes into support. But it has extra armor survivability. Don't forget that. So that is going to be definitely very helpful. So with that said, not a bad build. What you could do if you wanted to is if you wanted to run the Mad Dog yourself, you could sub out the large lasers for medium lasers, still have that range for yourself, but have even more room for missiles, for example, if you were worried. In any case, let's get out of the simulation. Let's go right back into the mech lab real quick just to compare. So, as I mentioned, we have 2 tons of ammo versus, in the standard prime configuration versus the 6 tons of ammunition we get in this build. We have armor of 517, which is definitely respectable compared to the stock Mad Dog, which is going to have 364. And we could, like I said, drop the lasers down to get, let's say, an extra 2 tons of ammo and then extra armor on top of that to even bump this up higher if you wanted to. Or you could go pure missile bolt for even more armor and ammo to your liking. So there's a lot of potential still left here if you want to tweak it even further, but I like this for my AI support allies, so it definitely go to Naomi and she would do just fine with it. Anybody else would too. She just has the extra skills if you have them unlocked to make use of this rather effectively. One last thing I will say, going to the science lab, going to the chassis milestones. In this particular save file, I did not unlock the metal camo patterns. I didn't unlock a lot of the chassis stuff. This was my expert playthrough, and I was just focused on surviving and winning. But what I will say is, the Mad Dog Prime, whether you're doing a stock use of it or this use of it, is going to do great for softening things up, and we'll get some kills, but you're going to find it hard to unlock the metal camo if that's what you're trying to do, because it's fire support and it's going to have hang time with the missiles and it's going to soften things up, and then big heavy hitters are going to finish it off, which is great for the idea. But if you want the metal camo, you're going to want to look into getting the new free Omnipod set unlocked of S. This is more direct fire with energy weapons and the like, and it works out really well. And this in your star will help rack up kills to unlock that camo pattern. I just want to call it out special. In any case, this is the Reprime Mad Dog build for missiles galore, while still having some backup laser punch that's pretty punchy in the form of 2 extended range large lasers. Thanks so much for tuning in and stopping by. We went all over the place there. We went from the mech lab to the shooting range, back to the mech lab, but I think it was worth it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Share any questions, comments, requests in the comment section. Share your own builds if you wish. And I hope to hear from you. Hit that subscribe button if you'd be so kind. And until next time, take care.